6:51 a.m. in Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. It is Tobago Thursday and we are talking about the brand new art trail. It was commissioned last week Thursday, and we have with us on the line this morning Dr. Linford Beckles, the Director of the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, and good morning to the listenership across the nation.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Tell us, how does it feel right now to have an art trail in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, I think that it's really an accomplishment for us, and I just want to put everything into context. The art trail is really known as the North-East Tobago UNESCO Man and the Biosphere Art Trail. And many of us may recall that approximately 2 years ago, North-East Tobago was designated by UNESCO as a UNESCO Man and the Biosphere Reserve, pursuant to the natural gifts and so on that we have in North-East Tobago, but also as a result of the rich cultural offerings that we have in North-East Tobago. And art is an essential component of those cultural offerings that we have in North-East Tobago. And we thought that it would be fitting to, mount very public displays of art so that, all can really appreciate. In addition to that, we really wanted to give the opportunity to a lot of the talented artists that we have in Tobago, the opportunity for real exposure, national exposure, international exposure. Some of the artists are better known and so on. So for example, we have Mr. Manswell, Earl Manswell, Jason Ned. Those are artists in Tobago who are better known. They are also known in the Trinidad context as well, because from time to time they exhibit works at 101 Art Gallery, Horizons, and establishments like that. But we also have a lot of young artists. I mean, artists as young as 12. Many of them hail from the Speyside High School that has been doing very, very well in art over the years. And they are assisted by two of the art teachers at Speyside who are practitioners in their own right. So we really wanted to give the artists a platform to display their work and so on, so that people like yourselves and so on can patronize and experience the high culture that the art brings out.
Thank you so much for that, Director Beckles. So one of the things that you just indicated, of course, is giving artists a platform to provide, I guess, of course, to provide a place for their work to be seen, of course, to have that space. But how exactly does it relate to the designation of man and the biosphere in particular? Would you say that it's in line with that designation?
Yes, I would say so, and that's a very good question. Many of the works of art that are actually on public display, they actually depict the richness of cultural life in North-East Tobago. But they also tend to depict the artist's impression of how man interacts with the environment, and that is what the whole biosphere concept is really about applying science to aid conservation and so on, so that there can be sustainable development, which is an agenda that all of us are really trying to pursue. In addition to that, the biosphere concept also promotes partnership among all sectors. And the way that the art trail was actually funded is really demonstrative of this partnership that we are really trying to build. So the art trail was essentially an initiative of the Environmental Research Institute of Charlotteville in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly. And it was tangibly supported by Woodside Energy and the United Nations Development Program. So therefore, partnership in action.
It's good to see such an all-round approach to this. You've mentioned earlier children, their artwork is also included. And it's so important that they learn from a young age what our environment is and how our environment needs to be protected. And if I'm not mistaken as well, there's also the inclusion of some of our culture into some of the artwork as well, and some of the practices that may have been lost. Can you share some of that with us as well this morning?
Yes, so I'd be very happy to. So some of the works of art, particularly one by Jason Ned, it depicts something that is very iconic in the context of the Tobago Heritage Festival. Well, that is the dancing of the cocoa. I know that many of our visitors from Trinidad, they come to Tobago to experience that, and they participate intimately in the festival. There are also a lot of fishermen, seaside kinds of activities that are on display. Of course, people in Tobago live very, very close to the environment and very, very close to the sea. In terms of fishes, is a big part of the diet here in Tobago and so on. And you have some works of art that are displaying that. But also from the perspective of conservation, because we in Tobago really depend on the environment for our socio-economic well-being, you have some works of art that depict conservation work in terms of the planting of trees, reforestation, those kinds of things and so on. So the art is really demonstrating cultural life in Tobago. It's really demonstrating our aspirations to conserve the environment in support of sustainable development. And if I may, I just want to indicate that this phase of the art trail is only just the very first one. We intend to follow up with additional phases, including some terrestrial sculptures and so on. But one of the things that I'm most excited about is the establishment of some underwater sculptures. And those underwater sculptures would actually provide additional sites of interest for those who are into scuba diving and snorkeling and so on. But at the same time, it's a conservation mechanism, because it's really intended to be sited in such a way so that it takes pressure off some of the existing dive sites that are so popular, and that sometimes we have a challenge controlling the numbers and so on. So interest and conservation working hand in hand.
This is fantastic news, Director. Thank you for sharing that with us this morning, talking about these underwater sculptures. And this is just the beginning of an initiative. And most importantly, saving the environment. That is something that we all need to continue to work on. So great on your team and all the stakeholders involved for ensuring that this investment is something that's also going to last a lifetime and bring returns, because it's almost as though you're sharing a piece of yourself with the community and, of course, with tourists when they come as well. Now, with the North-East Art Trail in Tobago, how many exhibitions are there?
At this point, there are about 13 exhibitions and so on. And of course, over time, we plan to add to that and so on, as the finances become available. So I would want to invite all visitors to Tobago and so on. Once you are here, you are driving along the roadside in North-East Tobago and so on, please take time out to stop and observe some of the public works of art and so on. They will put there for your consumption and your enjoyment.
I was just about to ask about that, because I know some people have been saying with the opening of the trail, it's a great way to perhaps spend an early morning or an afternoon with family and friends driving around and not just enjoying this art, but also learning a lot about Tobago and everything that Tobago has to offer. How does it feel to be a part of the team that has brought this to life? Because if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we have something like this in Tobago. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the very first time, and I'm very happy to be a part of this and so on. I want to stress that my role is probably not the most significant role. I think that great credit has to be given to the artists, essentially, for producing such wonderful works of art, and of course, to those who would have tangibly sponsored the art trail: Woodside Energy, the Tobago House of Assembly, UNDP, and the Environmental Research Institute of Charlotteville. So credit should be given to all of them, and for actually working hand in hand to establish this art trail for all of us to enjoy.
Definitely. It's absolutely beautiful, and looking forward to being able to see it in person as well. Viewers, on your screen right now, you are seeing images of some of the artists and some of the paintings that definitely will go down in history as being iconic. It's a beautiful blessing to see Tobago get the designation of the Man and the Biosphere and continue every single day to work towards just uplifting the community and preserving the environment. Director, do you have any closing comments for Trinidad and Tobago this morning?
Well, yes. I just want to say, every time I'm interviewed, I often take the opportunity to stress that the designation of North-East Tobago and the Biosphere Reserve is really a national designation. The site just happens to be in Tobago. So I think that all citizens and residents of Trinidad and Tobago, whether you are a resident in the island of Trinidad or you're a resident in the island of Tobago, right, you can be very, very proud of this particular achievement. And we really look forward to all of us combining our efforts to improve our relationship with the environment in support of sustainable development.
Oh, definitely. Perfect way to close, because at the end of the day, we need to look after our environment. Thank you so much, Director, for taking time out of your morning to be with us on the Now Morning Show. Looking forward to having you back again soon as we talk about further initiatives and more projects that you have to offer.
Thank you most kindly, and thank you, Trinidad and Tobago. Have a pleasant day.
That was the Director of the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment right here on the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned. There's more coming up today on Tobago Thursdays.